Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de, well, it's opposite day, so instead of talking about frugal tips like I usually do, let's take a look at what I am actually willing to splurge on, right? Today, at least in terms of dining out, all right? Ayo, XenPuck here. So I realize that over time, some of you guys must have reached the conclusion that I'm pretty cheap, okay? Yeah, even my wife makes fun of me for it. She jokes that I have to approve purchasing decisions that she makes. I mean, even though I don't recall ever actually saying no to any of the stuff that she wants, perhaps I won't argue that I am prone to making a face or two when I think about whatever it is that she's proposing to buy. Okay, and when I don't think it's great value. Okay, so today I'll at least demonstrate a little bit of how I let loose in terms of at least in one area of spending. Okay, yes, I am talking about dining out here. Okay? Yes, I have made clips talking about cooking and how some stuff should really never be ordered out. At least if we know what we're doing in the kitchen, right? But even then, I realized that this attitude is not going to hold for plenty of items that I still enjoy. So today, I'm just going to list some of these dishes that I basically only ever get when I'm out of a restaurant. Now, to be clear, I get that these days eating out is not cheap. And frankly, none of my picks are what I would call cheap. So, are they good value? Well, I'd say that's a rather personal question because, you know, if I can't or won't make them at home, its rarity rate is explosive, right? So if I have no alternative but to eat it, outside of my home, isn't that worth pretty much any price that I'm willing to pay? Okay, enough with my incessant value gauging. Okay, I'm gonna get to it. Okay. So if you enjoy some random rants from a dude with clearly no production skills, like, subscribe, share, comment, or whatever. I'll be great regardless because I just do these for funsies. Hit that bell icon. I still don't know where that is, but I'm asking you guys to do it because other YouTubers say that. So, whatever. Casual hypocrite. That's me. So, in no particular order, the first type of food that I always order at restaurants only, and that would be sushi. Okay, reason for this one, I think it's probably easy to guess, because the way to make sushi is very specific. I have tried to make sushi rolls at some point. My god, that took time, a bunch of specialized equipment and ingredients. But the most important thing is that the results were just very middling, okay? I get it, practice makes perfect, and I certainly could have gotten better if I really wanted to, right? But the reality is that I just don't love sushi that much to want to make like a ton of it at a time. So not to mention, it is actually somewhat difficult to source the type of fresh fish that you would need for a real like sashimi, sushi style home cooking. I just don't have the urge or the patience to go through all that, right? I am not Japanese, after all. So while I like sushi, I don't love it enough, right? And neither does my wife, frankly. So that pretty much lowers the potential of our urge to get better at it at home, right? So while we do still get sushi, it's like occasional, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, there's just no way we'd completely revamp our kitchen just for this one type of Japanese food, right? I mean, thank God Japanese food is pretty popular these days, so sushi is easy to find in most cities in the United States, at least. Heck, I can even find, sushi rolls in supermarkets these days, right? Locally. To be honest, I mentioned that I tried to make my own rolls, and having done that, it has made me appreciate even the lower-end sushis that I see being sold, especially the ones in the supermarkets, because theirs is just much more consistent than my homemade version, okay? And that's the lowest end. Oh my god. Ooh, the shame. Now, my second pick goes to a very specific wifey preference, and that's caviar. Yes, I know, I just picked seafood. Here's another seafood. Now, the reason I say why I wouldn't make or try to make caviar at home is, again, about presentation and sourcing. Okay, I got my wife eating caviar at the fanciest types of restaurants in the world, so it's really hard to come down from that mountaintop. We have actually tried to serve ourselves caviar at home by buying them on, on the internet, and it just didn't feel the same at all, especially to my wife, okay, because this is her pick, okay. Now, I think the reality is that this dish is more about atmosphere and service. I mean, sure, the taste is unique, but it's more about those other things, right? I don't know of anyone who's ever said, I wanted a great value meal, and therefore let's go get some caviar, okay? This is essentially an extremely expensive appetizer, right? I feel only in restaurants can they make it with the appropriate pizzazz and accoutrement, right? At home, what we ended up doing was eating like internet caviar with like Ritz crackers, which just really dampens the whole idea of this fancy food being served, okay? Whereas in restaurants, since I'm already paying like triple figures just for this one dish, you better believe they come with all sorts of dips and mini toasts and like fancy pink salts or whatnot to, to surround the star of caviar, okay? So this is a wifey pick because she loves this dish. I just love seeing her happy, and I've learned that for something like this, you go big or go home. Not literally going home in this instance, we're just going big at whatever fine dining establishment that even has this on the menu to begin with. Now, final pick, probably more relatable, the classic beloved by me, but totally unable to be replicated at home by me either. Okay, and that is fried chicken. This should really stand for any deep fried food, but let's be clear, Southern fried chicken is what really tugs at my personal heartstrings ever since childhood. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love cooking chicken. I've even approximated some type of crispy oven-baked chicken using internet-approved KFC blend of spices, but as a huge fan and consumer of this lovely bird, even I recognize that you can't really fake real fried chicken, right? It's impossible. And frankly, personally in my household, we're just not willing to take the deep fryer plunge, right? We're not willing to, do that level of cleaning. And as much as I love fried chicken as an adult, I don't eat it that often, right? I don't want to turn into one of those Americans who need to be craned out of their houses after all. So I think deep frying at home is just messy and a huge waste of oil and all that, and a giant fire hazard as well, okay? So we're just going to straight up pass on that idea. It's also helpful. Once again, the fried chicken is a dish that is widely available at all levels of fanciness. So for once, I'd argue going out for this dish might actually be a reasonably good value as well, right? At least when I eat some at a restaurant, I'm just thankful that I don't have to deal with the grease fire or having to clean out a giant vat of boiling oil. My God, just thinking about this makes me not mind the dining out premium. Okay, I leave that to the people who just loves to cook this one type of food. Yee. Now, in conclusion, I think my reasoning is pretty easy to follow. I hope. Okay, I'm absolutely willing to pay for food that I think makes very little sense to cook at home. I mean, I don't think any normal American would ever want to make the majority of their diet fried chicken or seafood. It's just not feasible, no matter how you look at it, right? I mean, maybe when I was a kid, I would have loved to live on KFC alone, but that was, many speedy metabolism cycles ago. Plus, I'd argue one of the great things about living in the USA is that we have a fantastic variety of food that we can get when we go out to eat, right? So why not keep things we love special by, keeping our consumptions of such treats occasional, right? That feels more rare. I mean, even fried foods can be a treat if you don't eat it that often, right? Now, value is not that big of a deal. Once I've made that decision to go out to eat, so we might as well go crazy over it, right? How about you guys out into the wider world, right? What would you definitely pay for in a restaurant? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers. A la prochaine.